Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari. Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Jayo Giri Varadhari Jayo Giri Varadhari. Shodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Braja Jana Ranjana Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari. Kunja Bihari. Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Jayo Giri Varadhari Jayo Giri Varadhari. Vallabha Shodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Shodanandana Shodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Munatira Vanachari Munatira Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Can we please close the door, somebody? Thank you. We are back in the Panchatattva extension. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 5, talks between Vidura and Maitreya. Shloka 44. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yatsanubande sati deha gehe mama hamityuda duragrahanam pumsam suduram vasatopi puryam bhaje matate bhagavam padabjam yat sanubande sati deha gehe mama hamityuda duragrahanam pumsam suduram vasatopi puryam bhajamatate bhagavam padabjam Suram vasatopi puryam Bande sati deha gehe Vaishnavas. Bande sati deha gehe word by word, yat, because, sa anubhande, due to becoming entangled, asati, thus being, deha, the gross material body, gehe, in the home, mama, mine, aham, I, iti, thus, uddha, great, deep, duragrahanam, undesirable eagerness, pumsam, of persons, siddhuram, far away, vasatha, dwelling, api, although, puriham, within the body, bhajema, let us worship, tat, therefore, te, yo, Bhagavan, O Lord, pada abjam, lotus feet. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. O Lord, persons who are entangled by undesirable eagerness for the temporary body and kinsmen, and who are bound by thoughts of mine and I, are unable to see your lotus feet, although your lotus feet are situated within their own bodies. But let us take shelter of your lotus feet. Purport. The whole Vedic philosophy of life is that one should get rid of the material engagement of gross and subtle bodies, which only cause one to continue in a condemned life of miseries. This material body continues as long as one is not detached from the false conception of lording it over material nature. The impetus for lording it over material nature is the sense of mine and I. I'm the Lord of all that I survey. So many things I possess, and I shall possess more and more. Who can be richer than I in wealth and education? I am the Master, and I am God. Who else is there but me? All these ideas reflect the philosophy of Aham Mama, the conception that I'm everything. Persons conducted by such a conception of life can never get liberation from material bondage. But even a person perpetually condemned to the miseries of material existence can get relief from bondage if he simply agrees to hear only Krishna Katha. In this age of Kali, the process of hearing Krishna Katha is the most effective means to gain release from unwanted family affection and thus find permanent freedom in life. The age of Kali is full of sinful reactions, and people are more and more addicted to the qualities of this age. But simply by hearing and chanting of Krishna Katha, one is sure to go back to Godhead. Therefore, people should be trained to hear only Krishna Katha by all means in order to get relief from all miseries. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyanandana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Ghoravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadi Shetharine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Shwari Ishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gorat Vishre Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Ghora Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here we hear about Aham Mameti, about Ahankara and conception that I'm the body. And everything connected to this body is mine. And as it is explained, it is the cause of our bondage in this world. So from highest being in the universe to the lowest being, everybody is bound by this false conception of I and mine. So what is the recommendation for such people? To them, demigods, they advise Bhajema Tate Bhagavam Padabjam, to worship the lotus feet of the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada, he narrows this recommendation to more specific, saying that people should be trained to hear and chant Krishna Katha only, by all means. And by this process, they're sure to go back to Godhead and have darshan of the Lord. So who is the ideal example of somebody who followed this advice? Maharaj Parikshit, yes. He heard Krishna Katha only for 7 days, and he didn't even eat, he didn't even drink, he didn't sleep. It was exclusive Krishna Katha. And it was only 7 days. We hear it for much longer. So what was the result of this hearing of Maharaj Parikshit? He himself describes this at the end of the Bhagavatam in the 12th canto. He says, Sidosmi anugrahitosmi bhavata karunatmana shavito yachame sakshad anadinidano harehe. He said, I have now achieved the purpose of my life. In other words, he became perfect, Siddho, Smyam. Because a great and merciful soul like you has shown such kindness to me. You have personally spoken to me this narration, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, who is without the beginning and end. And then he says to Shukadeva Goswami, Bhagavam statakshadibhyo mrityubhyo nabibhemyaham. I have no fear of Takshaka, of the snake bird, or any other living entity, or even repeated births and deaths. He's completely fearless. He became completely fearless after hearing the Bhagavatam. Pravishtu Brahma Nirvanam Abhayam Darshitam Tvaya, because I have absorbed myself in that purely spiritual absolute truth, which you have revealed to me and which destroys all fear. And my ignorance has been eradicated, and now I am fixed in knowledge and realization. Jnana, Vijnana, Nishtaya. He is fixed in Jnana and Vijnana. Bhavata darshitam kshemam param bhagavata padam. So you have revealed to me that which is the most auspicious, the supreme personal feature of the Lord. So to this hearing and chanting about the Lord, we are supposed to have a darshan of the Lord, face to face. As we see the deities, as we see Radha, Madhava and Panchatattva down, through hearing of the Bhagavatam, we are supposed to see the Lord. This is the result. But if we hear and chant repeatedly for day after day, month after month, year after year, and still we don't have much realization, still struggling with basic things, what to speak about the darshan of the Lord, that means something is not right. So what is the problem? In general, when we become a devotee, we are told first we need to learn Sambandha Gyan, to acquire the knowledge about our relationships with the Lord. And that includes different tattvas, like Jiva Tattva, Maya Tattva, Krishna Tattva, Bhakti Tattva. And then after that, we engage in Abhideya, we engage in a process of bhakti, of devotional service, and the result of it will be prayojana, will be the love of God, and then we will have a darshan of the Lord. But this progression is not entirely correct. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he used to say that only darshan mai, sambandha gyan, will lead to pure practice of devotional service, to Shuddha Abhideya, as he said. So darshan mai means sambandha gyan that is based or accompanied by realization, by experience, by personal darshan. So if our knowledge, sambandha gyan, is not accompanied by this realization and experience, it remains more or less theoretical knowledge. There are many scholars who have high theoretical knowledge of bhakti. You could say they have sambandha gyan. You know, they can be PhD in Jiva Goswami Sandarbhas or Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And they know the Rasa Shastra, you know, they know all these high stages of prema, sneha, mana, pranaya, raga, anuraga. They know all the Rupa Goswami's works. But they're not devotees. So you can say they have all the knowledge, but where is bhakti? So that's, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, from the very beginning of our practice of bhakti, some realization must be there. That's why he said, darshan mai, Sambandha Gyan, only Darshanmaya Sambandha Gyan will lead to Darshanmaya Abhideya, and Darshanmaya Abhideya will lead to Darshanmaya Prayojana. Darshanmaya means based in realization, based in personal experience. So this may sound a little harsh or difficult, but if we go on with our practice of devotional service year after year and still no realization, no experience, no darshan, it means something is not really working. So we have to do something about it. Srila Gaur Das Babaji, when he used to chant, he would go into the waters of Ganga. And he would not come out until he had a spurti of Radha and Krishna. That was his vow. Until the Radha and Krishna revealed to me in their holy names, I'm not coming out. So sometimes he would stay 24 hours. And then, of course, Lord would feel obliged by such determination, and he would have a spurti. And then he would be able to go out. So what could be some of the reasons for slow progress, for not having realization, for not having experience of the Lord, for not having experience of the transcendental reality? Actually, the answer is given in this very verse. Those who are bound by thoughts of mind and I, unable to see your lotus feet, although your lotus feet are situated within their own bodies. So ahamameti, ahankara, misconception of our real identity is the cause of all our problems. And we can carry this misconception even when we become devotees, and it can persist for many, many years. And this is the cause of our not having experience with the Lord. So this ahamameti and ahankara, they're connected to the concept of kartritva. In Bhagavad Gita we hear, na kartritva na karmani. Spirit soul is not proprietor of its activities in the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So kartritva comes from the word karta, the doer. And in 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita we hear, prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha hankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. So the spirit soul that is bewildered by the influence of false ego thinks himself the doer of activities that are in reality done, carried out by the 3 modes of material nature. So ahankara is that thing that makes us think we are the doer. I'm the karta. I did it. I made it. It's my hard work. I built my empire in this life. And now I can teach you all how to do the same, how to become successful. Sometimes, you stumble on advertisements on YouTube. Why you are not making 5 lakhs a day? Somebody is trying to promote business coaching, and then you come and you learn from me how to make 5 lakhs a day. So that was kartritva. But opposite to this concept of kartritva is concept of sakshitva. This is Upanishad, a concept that is found in some Upanishads and also in Sankhya philosophy. Sakshitva comes from the word sakshi. We heard of Sakshi Gopal. So sakshi means the witness. So sakshitva is the state of witnesshood. Generally, the Supreme Lord, Krishna, he is addressed as sakshi. He is the witness of activities of all living entities. But also this sakshi sometimes can refer to individual atma. So atma can be a sakshi as well. In which sense? That's something that is explained in Drishya, which are promoted by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So rupam drishyam lochanam driks. So our eyes, the eyes, they see the external forms, objects in this world. Tad drishyam drik tu manasam. But your mind is seeing is seeing what your eyes are doing. Drishyadi Vrittaya Sakshi. But Atma, the self, is the Sakshi, is the witness of the activities of the mind. Drigevana tu drishyate, and Atma is not seen by the mind or the eyes of the object of senses. So in this hierarchy, the Atma is the highest. First we have objects of the senses, then we have and they are seen by the eyes, and then above the eyes is the mind who is seeing the eyes, but above the mind is the soul, is the Atma. So generally, all conditioned souls, they think they are under oppression that they are their mind and ego, or their subtle body. This is me, this is my ego. I'm the subject and the world is the object of my enjoyment. Thus, being a Sakshi or witness means to shift our vantage point. The subject is not my mind or my ego. Subject is me, the soul. My Atma is the subject. And I, as the soul, I'm the witness of the activities of the world. I'm the witness of activities of my body and the senses, and I'm also the witness of the movements of my own mind. I'm witnessing what is my mind doing, but I'm not identifying with it. Gross body is dead matter, but subtle body, although it looks more alive, it's also dead matter. It's not conscious. But because just the soul extends its consciousness to the subtle body, then it looks like the subtle body is alive. It's always moving with the gunas, with different pranas, with different vayus, life airs. So that's why the mind appears to be alive and conscious, but in reality, it's also dead matter as the gross body is. So when the soul's consciousness becomes absorbed in the movements of the subtle body, of the mind, in the movement of the chitta, subtle body is sometimes called chitta, also the same word is used to refer to the mind, to the ahankara and intelligence, all these elements of the subtle body. So there are always innumerable chitta vrittis, innumerable thought waves that are coming and going on our mind. And when we become identified with them, we experience I'm our mind, and this is my world. And in this way, it's impossible to control the mind, because whatever the mind does, you think it's me. So whatever is happening in the mind is my world. Mind is the subject, and the world is the object. So, but when the chitta, when the mind becomes somewhat cleansed and somewhat more under the influence of sattva guna, the chittas, these thought waves, they decrease. There is a less movement, and mind becomes more peaceful. So in that state of a peaceful mind, one actually can intuitively understand that he is the soul, he is not the mind, he is the subject, and the mind is the object. So he can understand, I'm Sakshi, I'm witness of the activities of the mind. So if I don't make any more mistakes to identify with the mind, then all these countless thoughts that come and go, all these countless emotions, they don't disturb us anymore. At the moment, the mind can pull us in some drama at any moment. At any moment you can become angry, feel good, feel bad, feel depressed, feel this, feel that, and all your life is, so much absorbed in it, because we are identifying with the mind. The way to get out of this drama that this mind is creating is to become a Sakshi, to observe the mind from the vantage point of the soul, just to be a witness of the mind's activities. Impartial observer, impartial witness. And then whatever comes and goes, you will not take it so seriously. But as long as we are not in this position of Sakshi, we will be identified with that mind, and we'll act as a karta, as the doer. And then it will be very difficult to perform pure bhakti, pure devotional service in this body-mind consciousness because of this identification of ahankara. Bhakti, devotional service, is the activity of the soul. So one has to engage in devotional service as the soul, as the servant of Krishna, not as dull material body, not as dull material mind. It's a misconception that prevents us from having realization in devotional service. So we discussed kartritva, sakshitva, and connected to this is drashta or drishya vichar concept that was very much promoted by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So drig or drashta means the seer, and drishya means the seen. So it's a concept that goes one step further from sakshitva. So as the soul, we might be the seer of our own mind and its activities, but we cannot see what is above the soul. We cannot see the Lord. We cannot see the super soul. Super soul is higher, and that's why it's beyond the vision of tiny Atma. So the Lord is the one who is drashta, who is the seer of the Atma, together with its mind and senses, as well as all the objects in this world. Thus, we are the objects of the Lord's darshan, not that He is the object of our darshan. So when we come to the temple, we come with the idea, oh, I'll have the darshan of the Lord, I will see the Lord. But actually, the real purpose is to be seen by Him, to become object of His vision, of His darshan, to become object of His mercy. So by our own effort, we cannot see what is higher than us, what is higher than the soul, and that's the Lord. And we need mercy. We need mercy to be able to see Him. But if I continue to think, I'm the seer and I'm the doer, the progress will be very difficult and very slow. Our process is called avaroha panta, or descending process. It's a path of descending mercy and revelation, as opposed to aroha panta, ascending process, by which with our mind and senses we try to see and achieve something which is beyond and above our mind and senses, which is very difficult process, an impossible process. So thus, it is very important to try to approach bhakti, to approach devotional service without kartritva, abhiman, without doership mentality, without mentality that thinking, I will do it, I'll make it. Even if I say, I'll chant the holy name, and I'll make it by my own effort, I'll concentrate, I'll subdue the holy name, this is not going to lead to the success. It is not me who is the doer. The holy name is the karta. The holy name is the one who descends from above by His own sweet will and sweet mercy. And then when He starts dancing on our tongue, then we experience the Lord in the holy name. So that's why it's very important to have the proper attitude of humble servant begging for mercy, not the attitude of the karta, of the doer, of the seer. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said, what I'm quoting now, and Bhaktivinoda Maharaj wrote in Bhaktisiddhanta Vaibhava, whatever I have to say, my whole message is based on proper comprehension of this truth. But how few people have really understood this drishya vichar. Showering tears, Srila Saraswati Thakur repeatedly spoke thus to Shripad Sundaranda Vidyanod while Sundarananda was preparing material for Saraswati Thakur's biography. So his whole message, the whole message Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wanted to convey was condensed in this drishya vichar tattva. And he was crying because not many really understood it. So understanding, not just theoretically, but realizing these drigdrisha which are being free from this kartitva abhiman, doership mentality, and understanding the sakshitva, that we are not the mind but the soul, servant of Krishna. For this, some purification of the mind and chitta is required. So what are the qualities of the pure mind, of the pure chitta? Lord Kapila he explains this in the 3rd canto, 26th chapter. He says, Svachitvam avikaritvam shantatvam itachetasa vrittibir lakshanam proktam yathapam prakriti para. First, he says, svachatavam, clarity or purity. Srila Prabhupada, he comments in a purport to this verse. He says, in pure consciousness, one can perceive a slight reflection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Clarity or purity, svachitvam. And Srila Sridhar Swami and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, they comment on this. They say that the mind has this purity, this svachitvam. Then it has one property called Bhagavam Bimba Grahitvam. It has ability to catch the reflection of the Lord. Bhagavam Bimba Grahitva, to catch the Bimba, the reflection of the Bhagavan. So if your mind has svachatvam quality, when you chant the holy name, here and there some spurti will come, some reflection of the Lord's form will come. Next quality of the pure chitta, according to Lord Kapila Dev, is avikaritvam. Without vikaras, without transformation. That means being free from the sleepiness and distraction. If we sit in Bhagavatam class, we don't fall asleep. Or when we chant the holy name, we don't fall asleep. And we don't get distracted as well. But if we do fall asleep, or if we get distracted and carried away by our thoughts, but our mind, that means that our mind is not purified yet. It hasn't reached the state of avikaritvam. And third quality, according to Lord Kapila Dev, is shantatvam, peacefulness or serenity. That means free from raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, free from attachment and aversion that pollutes the mind. Like the pure water is not polluted by the foam. This is the comparison given. Pure mind is a pure water without any foam on it. So now natural question is, how do we cleanse our chitta and make it having these qualities that we just listed? We all heard Chaitudarpanam Arjanam, cleansing the mirror of the heart, the mirror of the mind. So the answer is simple: by Shravanam and Kirtanam. And Srila Prabhupada, specifically in this purport, he is stressing the importance of Krishna Katha. But even previously, in 11th shloka of this same chapter, there is a Vidura telling to Maitreya, quote, "Who in human society can be satisfied without hearing sufficient talk of the Lord, whose lotus feet are the sum total of all places of pilgrimage, and who is worshipped by great sages and devotees? Such topics can cut off one's bondage to family affection simply by entering the holes of one's ears." So same point as we have in this verse. And then Srila Prabhupada, he comments, Krishna Katha is so powerful that simply by entering into a person's ear, it can at once give deliverance from the bondage of family affection, one in pure consciousness of the self, and liberate one from material bondage. And then he says, to preach Krishna Katha all over the world, as recommended by Lord Chaitanya, is the greatest missionary activity. and all sensible men and women of the world may join in this great movement started by Lord Chaitanya. And then in this same canto, but in 25th chapter, we hear from Lord Kapiladev, Satam prasangam mama virya samido bhavanti hrit karna rasayana katha tad joshanan ash appavargavartmani shraddha ratir bhaktir anukramishyati. So where does this Krishna Katha happen? Happens in the association of pure devotees. And there, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Lord, they're very pleasing and satisfying to the ear. And by this cultivation of Krishna Katha, what happens? Shraddha, Ratir, Bhakti. In a sequence, faith develops, then attachment, and then Bhakti, the pure love, develops in one's heart. So Parikshit Maharaj, he is the perfect example of somebody who attained this perfection by Shravanam, by hearing. And Shukadev Goswami is the perfect example of somebody who attained the perfection by speaking Krishna Katha. So how did they do it? What was the special quality of their hearing and chanting that cleansed the mind and bestowed perfection so quickly in just 7 days? We hear the explanation of this in Srimad Bhagavatam Mahatmya. There is one story of Gokarna. Probably you heard of this story of Gokarna. I'll just repeat it very quickly. There was one Brahman named Atmadev who was very pious and learned, but somehow he didn't have any children, and that bothered him very much. So at one point he met a sage and got a blessing from him to have a son. Sage gave him a fruit, apple or something to give to his wife to eat, to become pregnant. But the wife, she was a little crooked by nature, and she was thinking, oh, if I become pregnant, I will not be able to do so many things. I will suffer, and delivery is so painful, so I don't want this. So she kept the fruit away, and then asked her sister, who was pregnant at that time, to when she delivers the baby, to get the baby and present to the father as her own son. That was her idea. And then instead of eating fruit herself, she gave a fruit to a cow, and cow ate it, and cow delivered the human baby, and they named him Gokarna because he had the ears similar to the ears of cow. And the sister gave her own little baby to Dunduli. That was the name of the wife of Brahmana. So these two boys, they grew up, but it turned out that this Dunduli was very crooked by nature and very envious and performed all sorts of sinful activities. On the other hand, the Gokarna, he was very saintly and devotional by nature, and he had the nature of a sadhu. So Dunduli, he tortured his parents. Eventually his father, he left to the forest. Mother drowned by jumping in the well. And the Gokarna continued living in the house with the 5 prostitutes who at one point decided to kill him and take all his wealth. So they killed him, but because he was very sinful, he didn't get the gross body. He became a ghost. This is what happens to people who are too sinful. They get a ghost body, and it's very difficult for them to get a gross body. That's why it's recommended to do Shraddha in order to deliver them from the gross body. So Gokarna, his stepbrother, he did exactly this. He offered Shraddha in Gaya for his stepbrother, thinking, okay, now my brother is delivered. So he happened to come back to their parents' house, which was deserted at the time, and he slept overnight there. But then, during the night, the ghost disturbed him. He showed so many terrible forms, and he understood that this is a ghost. So he asked the ghost, "Who are you? Why are you doing this, making all these displays to me?" And the ghost said, "I'm your stepbrother. Please have mercy on me. I attained this ghost body due to my sinful activities. Please deliver me." And Gokarna said, "Well, I already did Shraddha for you in Gaya. You're supposed to be delivered." No, Dundukari said, no. The thousands and hundreds of Shraddhas in Gaya, they cannot deliver me from this condition. It doesn't have such a power. You have to think about some other mean. So Gokarna said, "Okay, I will think about some other mean. Please give me a day." So in the morning, he gathered some brahmanas and he asked them, "What do you think? What should we do to deliver him?" So they gave him different advices, but they could not agree. What is the process for deliverance? So that's why they ask Surya Narayan, the Lord who resides in the sun planet. So they chanted the mantras, and Surya Narayan came and he told them, "Perform Bhagavatam Saptaha for 7 days. Perform Krishna Katha for 7 days, and by this process, your brother will be delivered." So they organized Saptaha, they invited all the villagers, everybody came there, and Dundukari, who was a ghost, also came, and because he had the airy body, he couldn't stay in one place, he took a shelter of a bamboo with the 7 knots. So Gokarna continued reciting Bhagavatam, and at the end of each day, 1 knot of the bamboo rod cracked. At the end of the 7th day, all 7 knots of the bamboo completely cracked, and in front of everybody, the blazing effulgent body of a person with the 4 hands showed. And he explained that he was a Dundukari, that now he is free to go back to the Vaikuntha. At that moment, Vimana for Vaikuntha came, and he stepped and went back to Vaikuntha. But before he went, the Gokarna asked, "There are so many people here who listen to this Bhagavatam Katha, but only my brother is going. Why is that? Why the others are also not going?" Because also they participated in the same exercise. So why Dundukari is the only one who got the highest result? Then the associates of Lord Vishnu Dutas, they explained there was a difference in quality of his hearing and hearing of others. Because he was so desperate, his life depending on this Krishna Hatha, he listened with a rapt attention. He was completely concentrated, and his mind didn't waver for one moment. Others, they were sitting there thinking, "Oh, when will the prasadam time come? When will this? What will happen tomorrow?" So they were not listening with a rapt attention. And that's why the result they perform is not the same. And then they left. So after that, Gokarna decided to organize next Saptaha, next month, and then everybody gathered there, and they all listened with a rapt attention. And at that moment, many Vimanas from Vaikuntha came, and they all went back to Godhead. So the point here, that hearing has to have a quality, has to be completely concentrated. And sometimes it's also mentioned that after hearing, you need to do a reflection. It's called mananam. You need to think, reflect on what you have heard. Then this katha has a purifying effect on the heart and the consciousness. So we need to think what we heard. So these were some of the points that glorify Krishna Katha. And before that we heard about the necessity of cleansing our mind from kartritva mentality, for the mentality that I'm the doer, and the importance of controlling the mind by being the witness of the activities of the mind. So I'll stop here. If you have any comments or questions, please. Yes, Janmashtami Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you. Really wonderful class.
Thank you.
The role of chanting the holy name in terms of getting free from the bodily conception, are they parallel or is chanting the holy name foundational because it's a Yuga Dharma?
Can you say the second part again?
Okay, so are these parallel, hearing Krishna Katha and chanting the holy name? Or is chanting the holy name foundational because it's the Yuga Dharma?
Yeah, they're both important. But yes, we say that Nama Sankirtana is the Yuga Dharma for the age of the Kali. So there are different sort of kirtans. Krishna Katha, it's a Lila Kirtan. And chanting the holy name is Nama Kirtan. So of all sort of kirtans, Nama Kirtan is the most important. We can say it's the most important because it's Yuga Dharma, as you mentioned. But in order to have good quality Nama Sankirtana, we also need to hear about the pastimes of the Lord in order for the mind to get purified, to be able to get absorbed in the chant of the holy name. Otherwise, if during the day I hear so much mundane katha, gramya katha, politics, so many useless mundane talks, and then I sit to chant the holy name and my mind is filled with all this garbage, I'm going to meditate about these things. And that Kirtana, Nam Kirtana, that Japa or Sankirtana is not going to be that purifying and powerful because the mind is already filled with so much garbage of mundane katha. That's why it's a parallel. Yeah, we need both. We need to chant the holy name and we need to hear about Krishna's pastimes and glories through Krishna Katha. Then it will have a synergic effect. Krishna Katha will support our chanting, and our chanting at the same time will support our hearing. So Shravana and Kirtana, they are both necessary. You cannot separate one from another.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So there's the book Bhagavat and the person Bhagavat.
Person Bhagavat, yeah.
So we also have to have that service mood. We don't have the service mood like the PhDs don't have that service mood, so they don't enter into an understanding or realization.
Yes, we need to hear Bhagavatam from a person Bhagavata, like Srila Prabhupada is. And by mercy of the person Bhagavata, by engaging in his service also, then Krishna Katha becomes alive. Otherwise, if I just hear from a robot, not a person, it's not going to have the same quality. Now you have this AI, artificial intelligence, it can, read to you and give you any answers. It's so intelligent, actually. You think, wow, this is a person. But it's not a person. It's just artificial intelligence. No, we need a person. And we need to serve the person, to please that person, because the Lord will be pleased. And then the mercy will naturally descend. And then a realization and revelation will be naturally there. It's not that we can, by our effort, it's not a mechanical process. It's, as I explained, it's a descending process. The process that depends on revelation, that depends on mercy. And the mercy comes when the Lord sees that we have that humble, serving attitude. And hearing is a part of that service. Hearing in the humble state of mind is a service, in the receptive state of mind, with the desire to serve, with the desire to please.
It's like Prabhupada set the example for all of us. If we just, like Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur at the time of his initiation, he said, "Oh, I know about, I marked him. He likes to hear."
Yes, this was Prabhupada's qualification.
And he had this service attitude, the Vyashyatmika Buddhi, the instruction of his guru, went so deep in his heart that he just dedicated his whole life to that. So with that service mood, incredible realization manifested.
So hearing also means in a humble state of mind. It's not that I'm hearing with a challenging mentality. I'm going to find a mistake. I'm going to point a mistake and to tell you this is wrong, I know better. This sort of hearing is also not going to give a result. No, it's a sincere, humble attitude of trying to understand. And then if we hear from a proper source with this sort of serving attitude, the realization will be there. Okay, anybody has anything else? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for beautiful lecture, and especially this last part you answered Prabhuji's question, and how this like Krishna Katha is very important for even good chanting also, and for Krishna Katha we have to first person Katha is like very more important. My question is that like you said one topic that difference between this like people they are very scholars in all these Vedas and scriptures, but they are not devotees, because you said because this self-relation is not there. So this self-relations, maybe many people have different self-relations, and they misinterpret that self-relations, and they made misconceptions in their life, and they live according to them. So how to understand this, which self-relation and their interpretation is right, so that they go on the right path?
How to understand which self? I didn't understand.
Like sometimes we have different this self-relations in our life. Self-relations, realization.
Self-relations?
Realization.
Oh, self-realization.
In our lives. So we interpret it in different way. People, they have their own mind, and they interpret this self-realizations in different way. And they make some misconception in their life, and they live according to them. So how to understand that which self-realizations are like how we should properly interpret that, and we go on the right path. Otherwise we can be on wrong path.
Actually, the meaning of verse self-realization means is a realization of the soul, of the position of the soul, and its relationship to God. This is a real self-realization. It's a spiritual realization. What mental speculators may call of their own self-realization are just their own mental concoctions, mental realizations. It's not realization of the self. Self-realization means realization of the self. They just came up, their own mind came up with some sort of conception which is going to be wrong if it's not in accordance to Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So whatever the conception they came with, if it's not in line with the Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, we can safely conclude it's just mental concoction. So whatever conceptions they have, we have to check with these three lines, Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. And Shastra is the ultimate authority. If they came with something that is against the Shastra, against the principles given in the Shastra, it's wrong. You cannot accept it. And nobody can have any self-realization with these conceptions. So they'll need to be born again and again, make some attempt not to speculate, but actually to engage in process of bhakti in order to get proper self-realization. What they have is not self-realization, it's just their own speculation. So you can ask what is destination of such scholars who just speculate. Well, it's different, depending on a particular individual. But they might have done some agyata sukriti, they might have chanted some holy name here and there, they may accumulated some, some pious, sukriti by hearing the devotees chant. So gradually they'll make some progress if they are not offensive and if they are not envious. But they have to come to the point, to surrender and to accept. Then only their knowledge will have a value. Otherwise, it's completely without any value. Who was that? Keshava Kashmiri, who was a big scholar, who was Digvijay, and he was traveling all over India, challenging all the scholars and defeating them. And by grace of Mother Saraswati, he could speak so eloquently and defeat everybody. But still, because he was so much proud, his knowledge was not giving him self-realization. He was not realized by that knowledge. It was just a material knowledge. Although it sounded spiritually because he knew, Sankhya, Nyaya, and so many other things. So many Mayavadis, impersonalists, they can know Vedanta, but still, they are not self-realized, really. Although they might know the Vedanta theoretically, they have no realization of it. But only when Keshara Kashmiri became humble by submitting in front of Lord Chaitanya and surrendering to him, all this knowledge became fruitful. It gave the result of self-realization. Only then actually he could see the real result of that theoretical knowledge that he had previously. So the mercy is required to reveal the knowledge. Otherwise you can know everything, like artificial intelligence can know everything. If you type now in an AI, it can give you so many answers that many scholars would not be able to give. But does it have any realization? No, it doesn't even have a consciousness. So just dry external knowledge is not enough. It's compared to licking a jar of a honey from outside. This is what the mundane scholars do. They just lick the jar of honey, but they cannot taste the sweetness of it. For that, they need mercy. For that, they need revelation. For that, it has to come from above. And it will come only when the Lord and His devotees are pleased with us. Okay, I think we'll stop here. Thank you all very much. Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.